Hi, this is Scares for You, and I'm V, where I read you scary stories that I have written down in my notebook. And tonight, we are working on Chapter 3 and Chapter 4 of the M.O.B. Don't worry, they are on the shorter side. So, if you found this by accident, go ahead and go back and find the first two chapters. Trust me, you'll like it. And don't forget to like and subscribe so that way you can get the next chapters. The next one will be coming out on Wednesday, so keep an eye out for that. So, a little recap of Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. Our character, we found out, is quarantined. They're quarantined due to the M.O.B outbreak, which is a mental outbreak, and really nobody has answers what it is. They're pretty much prisoners in their own house, monitored by a smartwatch with locks and alarms on the doors. So let's go ahead and find out what's happening in Chapter 3. Here it is. I sat waiting for everyone to join the group. Although no one would probably talk about what happened to Karen, I just needed to hear another person's voice. Finally, someone was joining. I can't handle it anymore. A booming voice could be heard before DB appeared on screen. His appearance was disheveled, his eyes wide, and he put his face closer to the screen. Now, in a whisper I could barely hear, he said, "Don't watch." Then the feed cut out and the screen went black. I sat staring at my own reflection in silence, waiting for the session to restart. Don't watch. I wondered what that meant and went over the possibilities as I tried logging in and out of the therapy session. Don't watch. No possibilities made any sense. He was probably sick. That's the only thing I could think. He is more than likely killing or being killed right now. Nothing I could do, I tell myself again as my body shook and tears began to stream. Better just stick with my routine. Although I tried to push it out of my head, the words were just stuck there. I rolled over and over in my bed and finally stopped to look at the picture of my family. I just wanted to let those words go. Don't watch. Just let them go and go to sleep. Hesitant but feeling no peace, I turned on the recommended sleep hypnosis. A deep, soothing voice telling me to relax my shoulders, let it all fall away. My eyes were becoming heavier right on cue, and before they fully closed, I seen the picture of my family change from the smiling faces and being replaced by the ones I really seen, the ones full of fear and death. When I awoke, I felt something different inside me. I couldn't give exacts if asked what it was, but I knew it was something. Through the windows, I seen the bushes flutter, and I knew that Mutt was out there watching, waiting for the next food drop already. The therapy session was just a recording, giving me false reassurance and telling me to keep that routine, watch that hypnosis, do meditation, and don't forget to take your pills and pray. Tossing and turning through another night, video droning in the background, mind lost in nothing that matters. Suddenly, a strange sound came from the TV. It faded quickly, then came back more piercing, and I turned the TV off. And as I stared once again at the picture of my family, I began to cry. I thought it was fear of the M.O.B that kept me locked away in this place. But now I realized it was grief. It was grief that was keeping me prisoner. All right, that's chapter 1, or chapter 3, and we'll go ahead and get into chapter 4. My heart pounded as I awoke, way before the alarm went off, and I bounded out of bed. Don't watch. I got it. I get it, and now I have to leave. Those noises from my TV last night, staying up way further into the sleep hypnosis than usual, had to have been the only one. Does anyone else know? They must, right? I mean, we're all recommended to watch this shit. You have to close your eyes and fall soundly to sleep. I have only actually watched a few, preferring sleeping pills and old movies. Suddenly, the remote slid onto the floor, and as I tried to reach for it, I completely missed. And suddenly, I felt frantic, even though no immediate danger was present. I picked it up and turned on the TV, finding the sleep hypnosis that I had turned off the night before. I read the short description provided beside it. Warning, do not listen to while attempting any task besides sleep. This sleep hypnosis will provide you with rest and peace for those who are in need. Recommended highly by the Federal Pharmaceutical Administration. Of course, I thought, as I made my way to the medicine cabinet. And there are all these pills, at least 15 different bottles. Even though I take sleeping pills now, I never really touched them before. And so many of them just sat in my cupboards, almost full bottles. I have never even thrown one away. There were a few different kinds with long names that I couldn't pronounce, but each of them said something like take for anxiety or sleep and so on, prescribed by the Federal Pharmaceutical Administration. I went back to the video. I watched and I listened to the entire thing, but I never heard that noise come again. Maybe in my perceived clarity, it was really just paranoia. But I still plotted all day on how to leave. No matter what was going on, I was done with this prison. I knew that there was only one time it would even be possible to escape: ration day. And it was getting closer by the second. I don't think people run very often. And if they do, I can't imagine that they've made it any further than those who were affected by the mob. And I'm sure it all ended in the same outcome. The most important thing is, if I live, is where do I go? Has anyone else ever tried to make it? I drifted off to sleep. Plans of escaping floated in and out of my dreams, but they were suddenly shattered by a high-pitched noise. Shooting up in bed once again, I blinked heavily at the TV as the ear-bleeding noise continued for a few more minutes. Then, silence that lasted almost an entire minute before the soft, meditating voice came back on. Relax. Clear your mind. Ease your anxiety. Kill everyone. Don't hide your rage. For humankind to survive, you must thin them out. I quickly shut off the TV. It wasn't a disease. It wasn't an infection or a virus. It was the FPA working to control and thin out the population. My family. All right, and that is it for M.O.B for tonight. Don't forget to hit that subscribe so you can get the next few chapters. It's going to be good. And remember, have a creepy night.